Good evening and happy Friday. Thank you for joining us. You're watching the 9 at Night. I'm Stephania Jimenez. Yes, my friends, it is St. Patty's Day and also a very busy weekend in San Antonio. But before you make your plans, here's your forecast with meteorologist Adam Caskey.
Rain chances ramping up through the night and early morning tomorrow, topping out at 70% around sunrise. That's going to last through 9 a.m., so becoming fairly widespread. For most of us, just a cold rain. However, in parts of the hill country, even north side of San Antonio, some snowflakes could briefly mix in with that cold rain. Even though temperatures will be above freezing, 37 in the morning, you can still have some snowflakes. It's just a representation of the colder air above us, and no accumulation around town, no impacts to anything, no impacts to travel. 50 degrees by the afternoon. Rain comes to an end by the noon hour, just after the noon hour. Then cloudy and cool, 50 the high. Sunday, another round of morning rain, but lighter and not as widespread. Then cloudy and cool at 52 degrees. More of the same on Monday, but just sprinkles and drizzle. Cloudy, cool, 48. We're back to the 70s by Wednesday.
In other news now, San Antonio police are giving us new information on two shootings that officers were involved in this past Tuesday. The first happened in the afternoon during a standoff on the southeast side. According to SAPD, officers shot 41-year-old Paul Ayala during that standoff in the 5400 block of South Cross Ranch Road. Police say that he had a gun pointed at his head, then pointed it at officers. That's when they opened fire. Now, he survived. SAPD says that Ayala had two outstanding warrants, one for possession of a controlled substance with intent to deliver and another for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. 5 of the officers who were involved are now on administrative duty. And the second shooting happened Tuesday night in the 9800 block of Colonnade Boulevard. According to SAPD, 33-year-old Roger Garza Jr. allegedly jumped from the second-story window of an apartment complex and then pulled a gun out on an officer. The officer then fired, hitting Garza in the leg. Officers went to the complex after a woman claimed that Garza was beating her. So now Garza is facing a felony charge of aggravated assault against a public servant. All of the officers involved in both of these incidents are on administrative duty during the investigations, which is protocol. One of the suspects in last month's deadly dog attack has made bond. Court records show that Christian Moreno has bonded out in the Bexar County Jail, says that he has not yet been officially released. Moreno was one of the dog's owners. The dog's other owner, Abilene Schneider, is still being held on bond in the county jail. Both Moreno and Schneider face charges for attack by dangerous dog, resulting in death and injury to an elderly person. A third person arrested in connection to that case on a retaliation charge was released on bond last week. Strong winds, heavy flames led to a woman's death early this morning. San Antonio firefighters were called to a home on the 2100 block of Monterey Street around 4. Neighbors told RJ Marquez that first responders really did everything they could to try and save that woman.
This is what's left of a West Side home after a deadly fire early Friday morning.
The house is pretty much a total loss. Heavy fire damage throughout the entire house.
Firefighters who responded say they found flames throughout the home. Strong winds caused the fire to spread fast, forcing crews to take a defensive approach.
After making a 360 around the house, they determined that the front of the house was still tenable. So we moved from defensive operations.
And fire officials say that flames started in the back of the house but quickly spread to the front because of those overnight windy conditions. Once fire crews were able to get inside, they found the victim in one of the front bedrooms.
She was found in a bedroom on the front left side of the house. CPR was started immediately, and once they pulled her out, she was transferred over to EMS.
The woman later died at the hospital. Arson investigators returned to speak with neighbors about what may have happened.
In a corner in the back house, just like a little, there's just like on the corner of the house, we saw that the fire started there.
Cedra Castillo and his family lived 2 houses down. They say they saw the fire through their home surveillance cameras.
We saw in the video that it was like just a little small fire, like they're trying to warm up, but then the wind picked up and it picked it up and started to spread it with the wooden house, and then it just started growing faster, and the people just ran out.
The victim's name was not released, but she was believed to be 30 to 40 years old. Fire officials did not immediately say how many people were inside the house at the time or how the fire may have started. RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
The San Antonio Fire Department rescued a man who fell down a manhole just north of downtown. Really crazy story that happened around 5 this morning in the 100 block of Mencha Street. A battalion chief says the man likely slipped and then just fell into the hole. We're told he fell about 15 to 20 feet, so crews used everything at their disposal. They whipped out a ladder and ropes to save that man.
To send the rescuers down and to get the patient out of the hole. That was going to be the fastest, most efficient way to get him out. It's not something we do on a daily basis, but it's something our technical rescue team trains for very often.
So the man hurt his leg. He was taken to a nearby hospital and he is expected to be okay. Another man is recovering after he was robbed and stabbed late last night. It happened around 11 p.m. in the 1000 block of Ruiz Street. That's near North Zarzamora and West Martin Streets on the west side. The victim told police that he got into a fight with someone and then was robbed and stabbed in the arm. We're told the suspect stole the victim's bike, rode off on it. The victim was taken to a nearby hospital and, yes, is expected to recover. Now to the latest move to help the banking system. Major banks are now pumping billions into First Republic Bank to keep it from collapsing. Financial institutions like J.P. Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're all joining together to save that bank. So far, the group has spent $30 billion to keep Republic Bank afloat. Comes just a week after Silicon Valley Bank failed. Its parent company is now filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
What are you doing with the people that are investing with you? Because you make it sound like you have everything covered, but at the same time, it feels like they're just playing with our cash.
Meanwhile, the FBI now in the early stages of an investigation into the leadership at Silicon Valley Bank and whether they engaged in insider trading. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reassured a Senate committee that the bank systems in the U.S. are sound and resilient, and she says that taxpayer money is not being spent to ensure that deposits in the now failed Silicon Valley and Signature banks. So, you hear stories like that, you may feel anxious, and it makes sense. It's your money. So what can you do and what should you do to protect your money? Well, one banking expert tells 12 on Your Side's Marilyn Moritz that your best move is to be sure that your hard-earned money is insured.
So your life savings is in the bank, and recent bank failures have you wondering, what if?
Is their money safe in the bank? How do you respond to that?
First of all, keep calm.
Bank rate analyst Matthew Goldberg says the key to confidence is 4 letters, FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
This is a time to check your FDIC insurance coverage to make sure, A, you're an FDIC insured bank.
Most banks are, but to be sure, you can ask them or use the Bank Find tool on the FDIC website.
And the second thing is you want to make sure you're not over the insurance limit.
If you have less than $250,000 in individual accounts, you'd get every dollar back. For joint accounts, it's $500,000. On the FDIC website, there's an estimator tool called ED to check your total coverage. Credit unions have similar protections, but from the National Credit Union Administration. But what if you have money over the cap? One option, spread your wealth and open another account in a different FDIC-insured bank.
We're in this rising rate environment in the last year. Maybe get a high-yield savings account at a FDIC-insured online bank.
Finally, there's always the mattress for savings, but financial experts don't recommend it.
And that's why the FDIC insurance exists, because they don't want you to do that. They want you to have faith in the system, in the banking system.
Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Okay, switching gears now. That right there is one lucky dude. Kenneth Weinberg of Maryland just won the lottery for the 4th time. Yeah, you heard that right. Last week, he won $50,000 with a scratch-off ticket. It's the 4th time that he's won $50,000 or more. Once he actually won $100,000. Weinberg is semi-retired. He works as an advocate for a counseling group. He says that he actually buys scratch-off tickets almost every day. And this time around, he's planning to use his winnings to remodel his home. I want to know if he's going to the same place. I want to know how many tickets he buys at the same time. I want to know what kind of scratch-off tickets. I've got questions, Kenneth, because I want in. We're out of time. The 9 at Night returns on Monday. Have a beautiful weekend. Remember to bundle up, be safe, and happy St. Paddy's Day.